There are men who hate women. You believe that? Well, why are you applauding it? Do you believe it? Tell me. Hate women?
Yes, they hate him.
How could you?
But they love him too.
How can you? You can't either hate them or you love them. You don't.
No, you can do both. Because that's why they want to get at you. That's why they want to rule you. They want to control you.
What about they're always complaining, criticizing?
Complaining, they're sick, take care of me. You know,
well, that's helpless Harry. That's not a person necessarily.
But that's what men
That's her
are.
husband's name, Harry.
Her husband's name is Harry? What does Harry do?
He complains.
He complains all the time.
I hope he doesn't hear this.
No. What does he say? I mean, what does he complain about?
You know, everything is hard. He can't do this. Before we go someplace, negative.
But he doesn't criticize you.
Oh, yes.
I got a quiz for you. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Here's a quiz. Incidentally, Richard and Joyce Droege are separated. They've been married for 24 years. You know what he is? He's a misogynist. What's a misogynist? You know what a misogynist is? A Zionist? No, a misogynist. You know what a misogynist is? Hang on a minute. We don't let everybody in here. It's a what?
A woman hater, one who hates women, is a misogynist.
Yes, it is. Misogynist, you're pronouncing it. Okay. I'll tell you what is not so funny. They're all over the place. You know about that. You believe this. Yes, I do. What accounts for, why would someone hate women? I mean, all the people of one sex.
I think it goes back to a person's upbringing when they were a child, the relationship with the mother.
I do too.
And I feel that it's something that's carried on. A lot of these people that hate women are doing it subconsciously and really don't know why. It goes back to childhood.
See that? Well, I'll tell you, there's wisdom out here. Here's your quiz. What?
I was just wondering if this is more common in a particular age group.
No. Nah.
All over the place.
It doesn't matter. Here is your quiz. Are you married to a misogynist? Does he assume the right to control how you live and behave? Have you given up important activities or people in your life in order to make you nervous, this quiz? Does he devalue your opinions, your feelings, and your accomplishments? Does he yell, threaten, or withdraw into angry silence when you... Do you walk on eggs rehearsing what you will say so as not to set him off? Does he bewilder you by switching from charm to rage without warning? Do you often feel confused, off balance, or inadequate with him? Is he extremely jealous or possessive? And does he blame you for everything that goes wrong in the relationship? Who said yes? Well, this one?
Yes.
Him?
Right.
This is going to be a long hour for you.
Yes, it will be.
You walk on eggs?
Occasionally. Right.
Yes, he might. You never know.
And after all these years, I didn't realize it until I just heard it. That's the end.
Yeah.
That's the end.
Joyce, tell us about Richard.
Richard is a delightful person. I mean, anybody who would meet him would think he is the most wonderful man, the most wonderful husband in the world. All of my friends have told me that I am probably the most fortunate woman on earth. He treats me as if I was a goddess in public. In private, it's a different story. In private, he withdraws. He withholds sex, his feelings. He's just totally a different person than he is in public. We've been married for 24 years, and I just recently found out that he is a woman hater. which has started from childhood.
You were married for 24 years and you just found out he's a woman hater.
Yes. I always thought it was me. I'm an incest victim. And when you are an incest victim, you feel as if everything that goes wrong in the world is your fault because the blame is always put on you. And even in my marriage, I felt that everything that was going wrong in my marriage had to be my fault. It couldn't have been his. He was perfect. Women hate or do. A lot of them are very, my father was that way. He was very loud and abusive. Richard was very quiet and withdrawn. He would go into himself, he would ignore me, he would walk away. And then when there were times, he knew how to get to me. He would do things that would make me feel guilty, tear me down in those ways, but not directly where I knew what was going on. It was very indirect. And I didn't know what was happening.
But you could never get it right. There was no
No, there was
pleasing.
no way.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what I did, it just wasn't enough
There was
to
always
please
another
him.
hoop to jump through
Yes,
for him.
always, always.
And you said such an important thing about he looked one way, very different man there.
Absolutely. This is going to shock all of my friends. They're going to say, Richard couldn't possibly be that way.
Yeah.
Because in public, like I say, he's an absolute doll. I mean, every woman would want him. I mean, just very attentive, very complimentary, everything.
Richard? Yes?
Well, I have to say one thing. It's not just hate. I like to change the word hate to, it is a love-hate situation. My story starts when I was very young, and I guess I felt controlled by my mother, who was a very dominant person. I would always feel like I was unloved, unwanted, and at times really abused. I always wanted to please her. I tried to find things to please her, to be noticed. Some of the things I did in a very negative way, and when it bothered her, she would get very upset. And a little bit later, my father died when I was 7 years old. And my mother left for a short period of time, and I stayed with one of my sisters. I also felt controlled by her because I didn't have some of the freedoms that I really wanted. I met Joyce, I was 16 years old, and I fell in love with her. We were together about 5 years before we were married. And I saw the fact that I loved her and was way out of my house. And it was like I felt her controlling me again, just like my mother did. And some of the hate that I went to Joyce. And I felt her controlling me. So I did things to try to avoid her control over me. I tried to dominate in a silent, like withdraw as far as sex goes. And when we did have sex, it was just to please me and not her. I would make things to where she would feel guilty because she didn't do certain things and leave me, because I felt that when my mother left after my father died that I was abandoned, and that still stayed with me. In fact, I still feel it. I said to Joyce several times, even after that, when we were married, you'll never leave me, will you? And I never realized why till I understood what I really am. Something else that happened afterwards was the fact that I went to work for Joyce's father.
Knowing that he had molested her.
Yes. I found out when we first started going together. But it didn't seem to bother me because I was looking for this father figure. And it didn't make any difference. And yet, I didn't realize that he hated women also. And it sort of like reinforced my beliefs in a way, which was very difficult.
Her father told you that women were only good for one thing.
For one thing,
Yeah.
and that's all, and that was sex.
Yeah. So that was your role model.
You sound like you've certainly spent $1.50 in therapy.
Yes.
Well, that's a loving thing that you did. I mean, you're obviously trying to get on top of this.
I'm doing it for myself.
He's working very hard.
Because if I can't do it for myself, it doesn't make any difference between our relationship between myself and Joyce.
Now let's understand this. You didn't physically abuse your wife.
No,
You didn't blow the paycheck on the horses.
no,
You didn't abuse the kids.
no.
But you were apparently brutally silent.
Yes. There was no intimacy.
Uh-huh. And now, was infidelity a feature of the difficulty in the later?
Yes.
And this activity began in the latter years of the marriage? Or was it throughout? Or how do you explain this?
Probably towards the middle.
Now, when you were unfaithful to your wife, you must have felt awful. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. I'm asking.
When Joyce would have certain things happen between us, I would get mad.
And that would be your excuse for...
It was the punishment to Joyce.
You're not bad. You're the victim of a unfair wife.
I always felt the victim.
My wife doesn't understand me.
Right.
Yeah.
I always felt that way. It was always her problem, not mine.
And you decided that you were allowing this to happen.
Yes, I was allowing it to happen, but I didn't realize what I was allowing to happen.
And much of what you had here in this relationship was very good. Is that so?
I thought it was, but then, I mean, now when I look back at it, of course I've been through therapy, but I started therapy for incest and realized that I really wasn't happy with my marriage, that I felt Richard was reinforcing what my father was reinforcing, that I was no good, and I could never be good enough.
Right. Apparently you understand as a result of this experience with you had a professional alliance, and maybe you still do, with a therapist, that your behavior was provoked mostly by your insecurity.
True.
You were afraid she was going to leave you.
Right.
Now, how does silent negative behavior neurotically help to keep mommy here?
I made her dependent upon me. I didn't give her what she wanted, and she kept on coming back for me for more. I would do things for her that made her dependent on me.
So the misogynist is, in a very ironic way, a man who desperately needs women.
Always.
Right.
That's the paradox of this. And the interesting thing about this is that he ground her down and wore out her confidence and self-esteem, and that's why she could never see what was going on. If you're blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong, you're never going to get out. You're looking for the magic key to unlock his wonderful behavior.
Nina Miller lived with a man for 6 years who was a misogynist. She's currently living on her own and works professionally. And you're a therapist?
I'm sorry.
That's funny.
I think it's important to say that because I was one of those real independent women that went out in the world, and I did a good job, and I'd go home and be a blithering idiot to this man.
Because?
Because he was so powerful and so charismatic, and also he was a therapist. So you put two therapists together in the same house, and you can make each other crazy.
Having a wonderful time. Why?
Oh, yeah. This was maybe one of the most powerful, charismatic men I've ever met in my life.
Really liked him. There's a lot of good stuff about him.
He was brilliant. He was exciting. I learned so much from him. We had a business together.
Yeah.
The business was our child. And
Did you laugh together?
yeah. And we cried together, and we made love, and we did all those neat things. And then one day, and it was more into the relationship than I think a lot of these are, it was several years in, we did a workshop, and we had people in the home, and I told him, he said, I want you to do this. I said, we can't do that, there's a legal reason. And out of nowhere, he started screaming and yelling at me. He drugged me into the other room. He said, don't tell me how to run this. You can't do it your way. We're going to do it my way. I was absolutely blown away, and I was in tears, and the more I was in tears, the more he yelled, and I couldn't even leave the room because there were people in the other room. I couldn't even go out until they were gone, and then I was like...
Was this the first time?
There are always signals.
Yeah.
There are, but you ignore the signals.
But he went up in front of other people, so this was more than just a little squabble between mates. It was a humiliation in front of others.
Oh, it was terrible. And they knew, they had to know because I wasn't coming back out of the room that, come on, it'll be okay. Everything will be fine. And he did what I call nice. And that should have told me. Now that's 4 years before I got out. And it scared me so much that I lived in terror for the next 4 years that would happen
When's
again.
he going to go off again?
And he went off a lot.
He went
too.
off a lot, and I kept standing it. You know, if I can just stand it, it'll be okay.
Just briefly, how does the therapist explain her mate's behavior?
How do I explain
Yeah, how
it?
do you explain him?
To me or to people?
You know, what is it? Why do you think he behaves this way?
I think he was enraged. My feeling is because he wanted me to be him. And he wanted me to be the perfect, wonderful woman who finally made it right for him after an abusive childhood, and his
The
father was...
ever-flowing breast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I had 12 breasts and they weren't enough. You know.
But you were doing that.
I was, and it wasn't enough, because if I made one little mistake, he would do a lot of what you've talked about, Richard. He would withdraw, which is, to me, one of the more cruel things you can do, even more than yelling.
It's never
think so,
enough.
too.
That's whatever the signals are, whatever you're supposed to do to get the love and approval,
Yeah.
they always change.
Yes. Now, how does the therapist, Nina Miller, explain her?
The thing that scared me the most was being abandoned, I think. And I came from a background with a very absent father, and a lot of chaos. So number one, I was used to chaos. I was used to always being on edge, always having tension, always wondering what was going to happen next. And that was normal for me. It didn't feel tense to me. It felt like how it was supposed to be. And the other thing I did is I gave myself away. I even knew in my head that I was doing that, and I still did it. And so he would say, this is real, and I would say in my head, no, it's not, but he thinks it's real. So let me see if I can get good enough, because if I get good enough, and in the therapist language, maybe mentally healthy enough, then he will stop doing what he's doing. And he never did. Every time I got to a certain place, he moved the finish line. He just moved it, and then I had to go over here.
This book is titled Men Who Hate Women, The Women Who Love Them. Susan Forward, PhD, has written this book, and that is the person from whom we've heard intermittently here.
Who keeps interrupting.
Tell us, Dr. Forward, just synopsize for us what it is we're hearing here. What is this?
We're hearing about normal-looking relationships with very normal-looking people where the man's illusion of safety depends on his grinding the woman down, stripping her for confidence and self-worth so that she can never leave. And he does that through a series of tactics that can involve intimidation, devaluing her, switching from charm to rage, very much the checklist that we went through earlier. And these behaviors are primarily on an unconscious level. If you were to ask Richard or any of the other partners of women who behave in this way, how do you feel about your wife? I love her. I love women. She's the most important person in the world. These are very intense relationships. And it is a love-hate feeling. It is a love-hate ambivalence and paradox. But these are men that love women intensely, but behave very often as if they hate them.
From Dr. Forward's book, this is number 23, David. Things I won't permit anymore. I won't permit him to yell at me. I won't permit him to insult me. I won't permit him to constantly criticize me. I won't permit him to discount me. I won't permit him to control me and tell me what to do. I won't permit him to humiliate me.
Yeah, I'm going to say I relate very strongly to what you're feeling. I'm in a second marriage right now, and I will say that the first marriage, I feel all the things that you're saying, and I had to find myself. It took me 6 years after that one to find myself so I could get into another relationship, because I'm still finding little traces of I'm making those same mistakes, but it takes time.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is a very slow process. How do you avoid, like on a first date, are there any telltale signs in the beginning of a relationship?
Because we can tattoo these guys now.
Right. Big M across their forehead.
I think there are, but...
I think that anybody can be attracted to a man like this, and we are certainly not talking about all men. We're talking about a specific kind of man who treats women in a specific kind of way. They are usually charming, exciting, they have a lot of drama about them, they are very personable, and they know how to hook you in. The behavior usually doesn't start to escalate until after they're sure of you. So while they're in the courtship stage, anybody can be fooled. The important thing is not whether you're going to be attracted, but once the outrages begin against your self-esteem and your dignity, you get out and you do something about
In
it.
the beginning, when he started acting this way towards you, did you fight him? Because I think I would scream and yell and try and get him to talk to me.
She did.
I did. I screamed and yelled all the time. The more I got angry, the more he withdrew. So it did not help at all. And as you said, there really wasn't a way for me to tell, because before I married Richard, he was wonderful. I mean, he brought flowers and presents and charming and all of this until the honeymoon was over, and then it started.
I think for me, that what would have told me is if I'd let him tell me a little bit about what he'd been like in previous relationships, because he did. He told me how he was angry at his last lady and how upsetting that was to him, and I let a lot of stuff go by that would have been real good clues. And along with the first time he ever yells at you, that needs to be the last time.
I want to know if you woke up one morning and said, I'm a misogynist and I need therapy, or if she said to you, you better...
Because of... Joyce received a letter from her sister, and that told her about one of my affairs. And we went for help because of our marriage. And that's what started, and that's what really brought everything out.
Does Richard want this marriage to work?
Yes.
You do. I was wondering, I know you mentioned you have children. Do you have boys, girls, or one of each?
3 girls.
3 girls. How has this...
And 2 sisters.
2 sisters.
And 1 granddaughter. And I finally have a grandson.
I'm just wondering, how has this type of relationship, the environment in which your children grew up, seemed to have affected them? The fact that they were girls, did they get some silent kind of messages?
Yes, I was extremely jealous of the time that Joyce spent with them. I was never close with them. I didn't want to give myself to them. It was just something that I couldn't share.
Richard was very good with the girls as far as taking them and doing things with them, but never anything emotional. That was my job.
Don't you feel lots of times that women are conditioned by their mothers? You know, like in an older generation kind of thing where the mother was treated like this and the grandmother was treated like this, that the children see this and in turn feel this is the way that has to be done.
The messages that come across, particularly if the father has been abusive in any way, is that men are allowed to behave any way they want to and women have to take it, that women have no power, and that women's jobs are really to acquiesce and back down and make nice. And a misogynistic background is a very important conditioning to set up a woman in her adult life to reenact that kind of family drama.
I'd like to ask the doctor, there has to be a large number of women that, if not enjoy this, at least like it, like this kind of relationship, and like the dependency that they get from a person who deals with them this way.
That makes me angry. I think the myth of women's masochism has been used to justify aggression against women. She likes it, she wants it, she provoked it. I think what happens is that women get so demoralized. Bright, attractive, powerful women in these relationships, they get demoralized, they doubt their own perceptions, they start to feel crazy, and then they get paralyzed. Because if you're in the wrong all the time, you can't break up this relationship. Your job is to figure out how to fix it. I don't think women are basically masochistic.
Okay, I would like to know if you said it changed right after the honeymoon. All of a sudden, the signs started coming up and he started changing immediately. You felt that he wasn't warm, there was no intimacy. Why didn't you realize the signs then? Why didn't you stop and say, hey, something's wrong here, we've got to change this?
After being raised the way I was with my father, I mean, Richard was a dream compared to what I had gone through as a kid. And number one. Number two, I mean, I was 18 years old. I got pregnant on our honeymoon. And in those days, you were supposed to be the perfect wife. You were supposed to take care of the house, take care of the kids, and do what your husband tells you to do. And that's what I did.
God, I miss those days.
And I think, too, what happens is that you try to fix it from inside the relationship. And so, I mean, I worked for 4 to 6 years, not trying to stay that way, which I really also take issue with what the gentleman said before the break, because I didn't like the pain. I wanted to make the pain go away. I just thought I could do it from within the relationship, and I tried everything I could, and when I couldn't fix it, I left.
The hate of women, which apparently does, often unconsciously, reside in the souls of not a few men. And these are men who don't necessarily engage in the kind of atrocities that make the front page of our papers. They can, but don't necessarily physically abuse their wives. They are often altar boy perfect in public. And at home, they relentlessly punish their spouses, either by retreating into anger and silence, or constantly criticizing, perhaps constantly ignoring. A lot of males have embraced, in the marriage, have embraced for prolonged periods of time during the day, the television set.
Which doesn't make him a misogynist. There has to be a pattern of relentless, assaultive, aggressive, punitive behaviors against the woman. A guy blowing up once, having a bad mood, lashing out, even name-calling once in a while does not define him as psychologically abusive. What defines psychological abuse are ongoing patterns that wear down the woman after a period of time so that she ends up feeling crazy, demoralized, without any power, and very, very frightened.
Nina, you're
Yeah. It feels, I mean, I know, felt like I was nobody. I felt like I wasn't good enough to stand up to him, and unless I could get good enough to stand up to him, I couldn't even leave.
I wanted to ask the doctor, once a misogynist, always a misogynist?
No.
I mean, it's not like alcoholism?
See, one of the reasons that I think Richard's going to make it is, first of all, he's here. As,
Thank you.
These are not easy things to acknowledge and admit on national television about yourself. Most of the men that behave this way will never own the responsibility for their own behavior. They are full of denial. They project the blame for everything onto everybody else. They paint themselves as the woman's victim, and there is such blindness in their perceptions of their behavior and, most importantly, how their behavior makes their partner feel. He's not interested in how she feels. He doesn't want to communicate. He doesn't want to understand. He wants to control. That's a very difficult person to access.
This is directed at Richard. How do you expect your marriage to resolve itself?
Now?
Yes.
Well, right now, I'm working to change within myself and understanding what I am and why I really do things. And I'm hoping that within a period of time, I'll be able to resolve those things and get back together with my wife.
Along with that, I'm also in therapy, and I'm trying to make myself to the point where I'm strong enough where if the relationship works, I'm all for it. And if the relationship cannot work at that point, then perhaps, you know, go on to...
You have the right to be treated with respect. You have the right not to take responsibility for anyone else's problems or bad behavior. You have the right to get angry. You have the right to say no. You have the right to make mistakes. You have the right to have your own feelings, opinions, and convictions. You have the right to change your mind or to decide on a different course of action. You have the right to negotiate change. You have the right to ask for emotional support or help. And you have the right to protest unfair treatment or criticism.